This is Algebra 2, Unit 4, Lesson 6. We are on Standard L. Again, Standard L is talking about exponential growth and decay. First of all, do you want to say hello to Daisy?
Hi.
Okay. Yeah, they're wishing you hello in their own way. By the way, Daisy, in terms of where we're all at right now, this is our HP and AP for the day, including our level. Notice that both you, Daisy, and Jack are at level 3, the highest in the school.
I'm about to get level 4 though.
Yes, that's true. Okay, let's talk about some function types. Function types.
It hurts my feelings.
Okay, yeah, so that, Johnny, you've been warned. Being rude to a classmate, that's minus 10 HP. All right.
Bro, I didn't know he was actually going to take it off.
All right,
That's
so
so bad now.
function types. Linear.
Minus
What is the equation that we usually associate with linear?
Y equals mx plus b.
Yeah, exactly. Y equals mx plus b. I'm going to change it a little bit. I'm going to say f of x equals mx plus b. But Jack, you do have it. It's mx plus b. That's what I'm really looking for. So plus points, correctly answering. Okay. By the way, another point of, or another XP opportunity here. F of x, this is function notation. Do we remember the mathematician who made that popular?
Euler.
Oh, man. Jack is on fire. It is Euler.
You're so lucky I can't say something right now.
That's good. You're holding back because you'll lose HP. Let's talk about quadratics.
It's like you're holding back minus HP.
Holding back.
I want to talk about linear, quadratic, and eventually exponential. So what is our default quadratic? That's another possibility. And we're going to give this to Johnny and Syra first before we give it to you, Jack, because you've already been on fire. What is the general form for a quadratic? We talked about this in our last unit, in Unit 3. All right, it's free game for anyone then. Quadratic.
Can you do like another?
Y equals A, B, X.
You're close, Johnny. The first letter is A.
Y equals
AX plus
AB plus X
AX.
plus B.
plus B.
All right, good guesses. I'm going to give everyone points for trying. It's AX squared plus BX plus C. And we'll give you guys attempting to answer. Okay. That's our general quadratic. And now we have our general exponential, right? From our notes from yesterday. Johnny, you have those notes from yesterday, so you can still get these points right now. Again, I want to give this to Syra and Johnny first before I give it to Jack to give them a chance to catch up in XP.
Y equals A plus B, X.
Close. A is one of the first letters.
Y equals AB squared.
AB, not squared. Jack, help us out.
To the power of 2.
Nope, not squared.
BX.
To the power of x, yeah.
Bro.
All right, so I'm going to say that Johnny and Syra, you guys were the ones that officially get that one correct. And Jack, you were the one that
There
attempted.
he goes, leveled up, whatever.
Yeah, so good job, Jack. You are now,
No, he's not. He is 10 points away.
oh my god, he's so close. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the graphs of these. All right, so to get your XP for these graphs, I need you all to make these graphs on your own piece of paper. I'm going to come around and see if you're able to make a quadratic graph, a linear graph, or an exponential graph. So go ahead and attempt to make graphs of each of these. And I think actually the best way to do this is after you do it on your own paper, we're going to do a quiet raised hand for who wants to volunteer for linear, quadratic, and exponential. I'd like to see what you guys come up with. All right, we are back from the break. So on the whiteboard, we have people that made their line. I'm going to do my best to trace what you guys did. Maybe I should just, I know that Johnny was trying to make a line, so I'm going to make a line right here. So let's see, he started right there, and he went down right about there. So that's Johnny's line.
Straight up, man.
You're trying to make it straight up and down?
Yeah.
Okay, so Johnny really meant to have a line that looked more like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then let me do the best ability to trace Jack's. I'm trying,
Why do you look at the board when you do that?
because that's the way that you trace it. And then you put arrows.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then Syra, it looked like she went like this. Okay, so now we can see in the video what we drew. Okay, so every single one of you has a problem. Not every single one of you gets full points. Well, no one gets full points. And I'll tell each of you why. But you do get your points. So first of all, thank you for volunteering to come up here. So, oh, what's going on? So apply here, here, and here. We're going to give you guys points for attempting to answer. Oh, look at that. Look at that. We have a level 4 warrior. Oh, man. Okay, so first of all, Johnny, you're closer with this one than you were for the second one. If you put arrows on the end of this first line, you would have been correct for a linear. Straight up and down while it is a line, it's not a function. It doesn't pass the vertical line test. So if you put a line like this, that would have been okay. If you put a line like this with arrows at the end, that would have been okay. But not this one. But you're close. All right, quadratic. Jack, you were really, really close. The problem with yours is it looked like your line went almost straight up and down here.
No, I'm still standing.
So a better quadratic would have gone out towards the left and right towards infinity instead of going straight up and down.
They're not just going straight up and down.
Okay,
It's
well,
still kick it out.
it looks like yours were.
No,
And then
it's just the
exponential.
speed bending it.
So Syra, yours was close. So the better way to do an exponential is it goes through the y-axis somewhere positively. So we'll just choose a random point. It goes through there, and you had the correct part for the right-hand side, although you were missing your arrow. But on the left part, this is very important, and this is on the pretest and the test. This line needs to come out. Well, it should come out through here, and it should get closer and closer to what value?
0.
To 0.
What if you just did it in one quadrant and you just made it L?
In one quadrant like this?
Yeah.
Not correct. It needs to go through the y-axis somewhere. It needs to be in the first and second quadrant.
So we're pretty close.
You guys were pretty close. All right, Syra, when you have time, can you erase the board for me so I can go on to the next slide?
God, your phone.
That sounded
All right. And then from here, we are going to talk about some functions just from their equations. So
What did you even do about it? He's being negative.
I didn't see it.
I'm joking.
You can tell.
Knowing functions.
Oh, is that mine?
All right. So these are going to be some examples. I'll do them in black. I usually use black for examples. So for number 1, I'm going to use the equation f of x is equal to, let's do 1 minus 3x. So between those 3 choices that we had from our last slide, which one is this? What form does it fit for our equations? Is a better way of asking this. All right, so don't shout it out. Don't blurt it out. We're going to spend 5 to 10 seconds thinking about, well, first of all, writing it down. And then after you write it down, 5 to 10 seconds thinking about, is this a linear? Is it quadratic? Is it exponential? What does that follow?
Can you go back to the left side real quick, Mr. Senko?
Yes. So what form does it follow? All right, so I'm looking for quite raised hands. What does this function right here represent? Is it linear, quadratic, or exponential? I see 2 hands. Let's go with Johnny. It is linear. Great job. Okay, let's try number 2. I want to put number 2, 3, and 4 up at the same time, so you can think ahead. So number 2 is going to be f of x is going to be equal to 4x squared minus 5. Number 3 is going to be 2 times 4 to the power of x. And, oh, I should have done an equal to f of x. Sorry about that. And number 4 is going to be f of x is going to be equal to 1/3 all of that to the power of 6x squared. All right. So I'll give you some time to copy those down and time to answer. All right. We had some time to think. For number 2, quiet raised hand. I'm going to give this one to Jack.
A quadratic.
It is quadratic.
I was actually right.
Good job, Jack. All right. Number 3, quiet raised hand. Syra.
Quadratic.
Quadratic? Not quite. But good attempt. Okay, if it's not quadratic, then it must be exponential. So you lose HP for yelling it out. Okay, I should say you're warned now. You didn't know that you lost HP if you shout it out, but from now on you can't shout it out, and I'll give it to you. It is exponential. No, I want you to participate, but I want you to participate in the manner that I choose. And finally, number 4, quiet raised hand. Don't shout it out. Jack.
Exponential.
It is exponential. All right, good. So we have those down just by looking at their equations. So I'm taking a look at your homework to make sure you know what's going on. So we need to be able to tell the difference between growth and decay. So the title for this is growth versus decay. Versus. Yeah, okay, so here's the most important information that I can give you on this. So if I have f of x is equal to a times b to the power of x, that's our general function. I could put parentheses around here. So if b, so I'm going to introduce some new notation. It might confuse us at first, but I just like you to get familiar with cool notation. This symbol right here, it looks like a C with a line through it.
Like an E.
It's kind of like an E or a backwards 3.
Uppercase E.
But if this B is between 0 and 1, so this means B is contained. Somewhere between 0 and 1, there's a B. So if B is between 0 and 1, I could have also written it like this. I could have said 0 is less than B is less than 1. I could have also said, no, it's between these two. If you prefer this form, you can write it this way. If you prefer this form, you can write it that way. You don't have to write both of them. So if you have one of these two forms, that means that it is decay. Now if B, notice that we don't care what A is, we don't care what X is, we only are looking at B, that base. If B is between 1 and infinity,
So that little symbol means between.
so this symbol means B is contained. So I can write that out on the side.
I know B. The little E.
This thing means is contained. B is contained between the interval 1 to infinity, or you can alternatively just say B is bigger than 1. That means that we have growth. This thing needs to be in your summary right here because it is so important. So I'm going to do a giant star to let you know that that is the important thing. So let's test these. The question for each of these is this growth or is it decay? So let's do number 1.
How can you tell?
You'll have to look at B and then say, is B between 0 and 1 or is it bigger than 1? F of x is equal to 1 times 2 to the power of x.
It's growth.
Okay, so for these formats, I would like quiet raised hands, but Johnny, you do have it correct. It is growth. But now everyone has been warned, we need quiet raised hands for this. Thank you for participating, Johnny. I really appreciate it.
I'm just gonna stop.
Number 2, this is going to be between Jack and Syra. I'm going to do f of x is equal to 4 times 0.5 to the power of x. So write it down first. All right, between Sire and Jack, do I see a quite raised hand? All right, Syra.
DK.
It is DK. Why?
Because of the decimal. That's what I see.
Yeah, it's a decimal. And how can you use the definition? This 0.5 is between. Exactly. 0.5 is between 0 and 1. All right, let's try another one. I'm going to do 6 examples here. And then we'll be done with notes. Number 3. F of x is equal to 1/2 times 2/3 to the power of x. Quite raised hands. Jack.
It's DK
DK, why?
because that's in between 0 and
What is in between 0 and 1?
B.
And which one is the b?
2/3.
Yeah, so 2/3 is between 0 and 1. That's how I like my answers. Thank you, Jack. Yes, 2/3 is between 0 and 1. And I've been forgetting to give people XP for these. So this was Johnny, right? So Johnny, you got one correct. And then this one was Syra. And then Jack just got this one. All right, and then let's do number 4. So these ones are going to be trickier. Obviously, they need to be trickier because I need to make you, if you already know what you're doing, you're not learning. Let's try this one. Let's do 4/3 to the power of x. So quite raised hands. Everyone has already participated, so now it's free game. I'm going to randomly call on people. I'm going to give this question to the person with their hand raised that has the least amount of XP. So it's between Sire and Johnny, so it's Johnny. Go for it.
I lost my pencil. I think it's growth
Why growth?
because it's 4/3, so it's above 1.
I like how you answered that. 4/3 is bigger than 1. Yes, it is growth. You have it right. Good job. Number 5.
Is this all our homework is going to be?
Yes.
It's really hard.
Number 5, this is going to be f of x is equal to 78/787 to the power of x. All right, I'll give this one to Jack. Next one is Cyrus. Jack, this one is?
Growth.
It is growth. All right. And finally, Syra, this one is yours, but everyone is answering it in your own notebook. This is going to be the hardest type of question I can give you, and I apologize in advance, Syra, because it is hard. This is going to be 1/2 to the power of negative x. Everyone answer this in your own notebooks. And don't help out Syra. Everyone do this independently. All right, when you're ready, Syra, take your time.
I don't want to die because then I get extra work and I won't do it.
Push-ups.
So it's a 50-50 shot. You either say growth or decay
Wait, we should
if you're guessing, but if you have an idea of why it's your answer, that's even better.
Once you come back, you heal.
Okay, Johnny has an answer.
I'm not with the question.
Oh, you have a question.
Okay, so we should every semester raise the health back up because our grades reset. So
Johnny, how many
We can do that.
semesters we have left?
There's no more semesters left.
no, I'm just saying.
All right, so Syra,
'cause we're-
do you have an answer?
I think it's growth
Why do you think it's growth?
Mine would be
because I feel like the negative x doesn't really matter because it's not in the parentheses.
So get rid of it. Don't worry about the negative x. And then what does that affect the base?
Wait, never mind. I think it's decay.
You think it's decay?
It's yeah because it's
Oops.
1 and 0 or 0 and
I like how you said that. You think that what is between 0 and 1?
1/2.
And that is the, starts with a B.
There's the what?
This 1/2 is the b. It's a 4-letter word. Someone help out Syra. What is this called? 1/2 is the it starts with a B.
Base.
Base, exactly.
Base.
1/2 is the base. So you are right in thinking that 1/2 is between 0 and 1 and therefore it's decay, but this negative x does affect it.
You flip it.
So, and yeah, Jack has it. So if you
then
have
what's
1/2
growth?
to the power of -1, that turns into 2/1. I flip it and I change everything to a positive 1. So this function, number 6, I ran out of room, but number 6 can alternately, please write this in your notes, everyone, can also be written as 2/1 to the power of positive x. You can flip it and change this to a positive exponent. And now, because of that,
It's growth.
it's growth.
So write the summaries
I
down.
haven't approved it.
Yes, please write your summaries.
Can you leave that up there?
I will.
No, I'll just look back.
This is growth. So I'm going to freeze the screen, and I'm going to give you guys your XP. So I like how Jack talked about flipping it. We needed that. And Syra, you eventually did get it. It was growth after Jack's input. So I gave you both plus 60.
I thought that the negative x mattered. I don't know. I didn't think it mattered because it was in the parentheses.
Right. So it does affect the homework. And before we end the video, do you guys want to say goodbye to Daisy?
Bye, Daisy.
Interesting.